Union problem? What union problem? I'm Brian Lilley. This is TheRebel.media. We've got another example of union leaders being alleged to be doing things that they're not supposed to be doing, and more examples of unions saying, don't worry, just trust us. I'm not sure that that's the best move. We've seen for the past few years a real fight in Parliament over legislation regarding unions. And the union bosses are always saying, trust us. We know what we're doing. We don't need any oversight. Now, this despite the fact that these organizations have special status under the law, that they collect billions of dollars each year tax-free with the full force of the law from members and non-members that work in unionized shops. And then they spend that money how they see fit. Well, right now we've got 2 members of the Ontario Provincial Police Association suspended, another one let go, removed from his position. Allegations of a lot of funny business going on, an RCMP investigation, office raids, and this is at the union representing the provincial police. On top of this, we've had the Charbonneau Commission in Quebec examining all of the different links between organized crime, politicians, and the labor movement. We've had, CUPE unions ripped off to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's happened in the private sector, it's happened in the public sector. Time and again, dues-paying members of unions, dues-paying workers in unionized shops have been ripped off, and yet the union bosses continue to fight and say they don't need any oversight. Now, this goes back to Bill 377. That was the bill that was supposed to open up union books to not only members but also the public. Remember, these are organizations that get billions of dollars a year collected tax-free. They turn around and then call for corporations and you and I to pay more in taxes, but they pay zero tax and collect billions of dollars. And then they disperse it how they want. Right now, it's on an awful lot of politics. And, apparently in many unions, some funny business. Don't you think that members deserve to know about this? Well, Bill 377 passed the House of Commons before it was gutted in the Senate, essentially made useless by then Conservative Senator Hugh Segal. He's left and the bill is coming back now, but that doesn't mean that unions aren't ramping up to try and stop it. I think that this latest example with the Ontario Provincial Police Association proves why the bill is needed. I think the Charbonneau Commission out of Quebec proves why the bill is needed. But for some reason, the union bosses say, no, trust us. We can collect billions off you. We can get you fired from your job if you won't pay your union dues. But don't you dare ask us how the money's spent. They'll tell you that they're actually open and transparent with the money. We heard at committee in Parliament from members that had to take their own unions to court to find out how the money was being spent. We found out about unions that represent federal workers across the country paying for a campaign against Jean Charest, the only Federalist leader at the time in Quebec. They were supporting the separatists. Is this really what most dues-paying members and dues-paying workers in Canadian unions expect their money to go to? Probably not. But then again, the union bosses like it how it is. I mean, recently they were complaining about another bill that changed labor law at the federal level that did pass. It called for a simple secret ballot in order to certify or decertify a union. They don't like the secret ballot. They'd rather be able to intimidate. Can you imagine voting for your MP, your member of provincial parliament, your city councillor for anything without a secret ballot? And yet in unions at the federal level and in far too many provincial jurisdictions, you are still just asked to sign your name on a card. It's open, but it's not transparent. There's an awful lot of intimidation that goes on. Canada's unions have had an easy ride for a long time. I think that the news over the past few years of union dues being used to rebuild a strip club north of Montreal that was owned by bikers, of corruption between politicians and construction unions, aided and abetted by unions, the provincial police union being investigated. I think all of these prove the need for greater transparency. So I think that before Parliament rises for the summer, that it's time for the Senate to get on board with Bill C-377 and finally pass it and give hard-working Canadians the freedom, the information they deserve.